Okay, I think that we can start, so if you can take your seat back, and we will be ready to start the afternoon session.
Comincio a parlare Domenico come
Sì, sì.
Ti basta semplicemente pigiare questo?
No, 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 infatti ne fanno tutto loro.
Fanno del
Parla e
tutto
basta.
loro?
Sì, sì.
Perfetto, ok.
Okay, just a simple reminder before we start. Please remind to sign the list, the document at the entrance. If you haven't done it yet, do it right now. It's important. Thanks. Okay, I think we are ready for starting this afternoon session. I know Domenico is connected online, and he will be moderating this. Well, try to moderate this from remote this session. Domenico, please.
Thank you. I will moderate at a distance, but since we are speaking about a virtual system, I think it's proper also moderating online. So since the afternoon session on all conferences is challenging because it is difficult to come back at the level of attention that you reached at the end of the morning session, we decided to have this afternoon exercise, an experiment of the use of the platform, practical use that will follow up to what you already saw in the previous presentation. So you already had some flavor of the added values and of the features of the platform in the Marco Ducato presentation when he showed up as you can find investigative indication by looking at the data regarding the companies in the right way. So we are now trying to do the same with other features of the platform, considering in particular the reporting and the database tools that we have in the platform. So we will go through some data and try to search connection and try to make you see the bigger pictures on some tendencies that may be visible only if you look at the data in an aggregated way. So I think that we can start. I would like to give the floor to our colleagues from the Poligrafico dello Stato. So Guglielmo Cervello and Andrea Comel prepared the test use of the platform, so I give them the floor and the screen, and I will keep in commenting the research during this presentation. Andrea, Guglielmo, the floor is yours.
Yes. The computer is connected to the HDMI.
We have some issue with the connection. We can try to connect our PC on the screen.
Yes, it's connected to the HDMI. This morning, working. So, okay.
Okay. So, good afternoon to everyone. Thanks to IFAP for this opportunity and for staying in this incredible place. Today, as a Polygraphico, me, in collaboration with my colleague Andrea Comel, we will show to you the MEDI-THEFT platform and make a focus on the main functionality offered by the platform with a scope how the user can view the data and what the user can do with them. So, please, Andrea, show the platform. Okay. For today's demo, we are using the test credential. So every user can access on the MEDI-THEFT platform with a dedicated credential. So
this is a user with an editor and approver profile.
Okay. When the user, whenever user access on platform can show only the functionality enabled with the relative roles associated to the user. For example, this user have two roles, editors and approver. So this user can or insert a new theft or evaluate and approve or reject the events inserted from another user with only the editor role. So a quickly overview of the dashboard where before the user can show all the functionality enabled for a specific role. So we want to make a focus on where are the information on the platform. So, and what the user can do with them. So when the user select the reports information, the report functionality, can choose two different types of reports, each one dedicated for specific type of theft, theft and robberies or losses. We decided to make to select a case study for each one in order to show to you a specific case story. So, please, okay. All the page showed involved on the platform have the same structure. And on the top, there are the filter section, and in the middle of the page, the user can show, please go there, the list of the data. For example, this page contains across 2056 medicine involved in theft. We decided to filter this page and choose a dedicated specific medicine for as Brit, okay, involved in a famous events, okay. As a result of the filter applied, we can show only 9 roles. So this information describes that this medicine has been involved in different theft, and if the user wants to understand more information or have additional data regarding this specific row, can choose to extend the columns. So, just dimmi show zoom. Okay. So the user can decide to reduce or extend the information regarding each row in order to, make a focus additional on the theft. And for this case story, we decide to select the Vetralla events, a famous case story shared by the IFA. So in this case, the user can select the first row that contains the ID of the events, go inside the event management module that show all the details for specific theft. In this case, can make a specific analysis to, make a focus not only on the specific medicine, but also on data relative to the theft, specific theft. For example, okay, these medicines is not only the medicines involved in this event, but we can see a list of additional medicine involved in this case. So for additional information regarding this case study, I leave the floor to Mr. Domenico Di Giorgio that will describe these events and how the AIFA manage it.
Thank you. Thank you, Guglielmo. Let's try to look at the framework again. This is a case that was signaled recently. It was part of a new wave of theft. That's something that probably changed in the framework, because we noted a few cases in the same area that are some way connected from our point of view, and having the information in the platform regarding the different cases that are filed in the recent months allowed us to see connections. The filter that was applied in the demo was related to one of the products that were the object of this theft, and it was clear that this product was the object of more theft in the recent months. So it means that it is a trend some way. Always consider that theft are, in this field, theft are actually based on a factual demand. So there is someone who's asking for a certain list of products, and the criminals try to fulfill the demand. So when we managed the Volcano operation case, we found a specific shopping list that was shared by some international operators that were initially targeting the legal distribution network, that was then used by the criminals for finding the products that were more appealing to their customers. So in this case, using this recent relevant case as a trigger for making research on the platform allows us to see that there are coincidences and recurrent cases in which this specific product is involved. So it means that this product is probably part of a new shopping list, and that the criminals found new ways for infiltrating these products in distribution network, possibly using third countries where the traceability systems are not in place, but even the European ones, since, for instance, hospital pharmacies are not always connected to the European traceability systems in all around Europe. Then the connection between cases is not apparent to the manufacturing authorization holders, because they do not have normally access to the whole set of data. But if you can look at the figures and at the information in the platform, you can see if the Vetralla case involved more products, and if those products were also recurring in other recent cases. So you may have a picture of what's happening, trying to see if there are trends that you can specifically target, and issue alert and blacklist to the international network, trying to raise the awareness on this emerging threat. Please note that what we did with fixture 1 and 2 was already successful in terms of awareness raising. Before our attempt, it was not normal to have a rapid alert on theft, and today it is the standard to share the information at European level when relevant theft occurs. So that's something that, again, create this kind of feedback circle that I already described. So the simple query to the system looking for this kind of information can give you a lot of extra data from the system. But I give back the floor to Guglielmo for coming back to the platform to see more of the information and of the report and features that are already active in the system. Guglielmo, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Domenico. So please, Andrea, can... okay. Okay, wait a moment.
Okay.
Please, Andrea, can we return to the report? Okay. Now we want to share with you another example of research for losses reports. We select a Keytruda medicine. Obviously, the user can insert a multiple filter. The result is the additional condition of the result of the filter applied. So if the user fulfills all the fields, the result is very strictly. If the user doesn't apply nothing, the table shows all the information involved in this type of events. So in this case, the result is 9 rows. The user can show the information directly on the platform, or instead, if the user wants to make an additional analysis outside of the system or show this information with another colleague, another teams, can make a download of the result with 2 options, Excel format or PDF format. Excel file if the user wants to make an additional, analysis and apply an additional filter, or, okay, wait. Okay, or if the result is enough for the analysis, can show directly, please can you go upstairs? Share directly the PDF format that show all the columns showed on the platform. For example, if the user decides to show 10 columns, this reports 10 columns. If the user reduce at 2 columns, in dynamic mode, the result show only 2 columns. So this high flexibility, high functionality relative to what the user wants. So for this case, I like to make a focus on the quantity of the records of the quantity of 62 P's involved in these events. So if the user wants to make an additional analysis, go inside the event section, search the relative events, and show each information regarding the theft and the medicine. So one theft can involve one medicine or multiple medicine relative to specific theft. Okay. Mr. Di Giorgio, if you want to add some notes regarding this case.
Yes, thank you. I would like to leave your screen in the monitor, because I would like to comment, if possible, the data. I'm asking the colleagues if it's possible to show on the screen the monitor of the platform.
Yes, the screen shows the monitor.
Okay, thank you. One of the added values of cooperation as a community to this kind of exercise is that we can use the expertise of the participant to the network for analyzing the information. So giving the opportunity of downloading the data as an Excel file seems an obvious point, but it is something that's extremely useful if you want the expert from the enforcement or from the marketing authorization holder network to try to connect the dots and to see what's happening. So the contribution to the network could be also in terms of intelligence. In this case, in particular, we asked for the use of Keytruda as a trigger for research because this product was the object of a relevant case that we managed a few years ago, an impressive theft of half a batch of a product, millions of euros worth, that was, by matter of fact, made unusable thanks to the systems that we put in place. So we blacklisted the product all around Europe and it became unsellable and the criminals were not able to launder it and to infiltrate it into the legal network. The point is that the demand for this product is still interesting, apparently. So if you look for this product into the data that we are processing, you will note that you have a lot of losses. Not theft, but losses. But losses from our point of view are non-filed theft. And if the frequency of this kind of losses is so high, it means that clearly the criminal network is reacting to our activities. As it is natural, it is, let's say, a living fight. We are trying to make things more difficult and criminals will try to find new ways for keeping their business alive. So we were imagining in 2014, 2015, when we focused on these theft activities, that criminals would have shifted to something else, like losses, for maintaining the business alive, and checking some key products in the platform. It is a good confirmation of this forecast. We also had aggregated data on the increase of losses in the last years, and it is a clear indication of something that's happening in the evolution of the criminal behaviors. Again, something that you can see only if you look at figures and data in an aggregated way. And if you have the cooperation of experts from the industries, from the enforcement, for trying to understand what's happening. Because even if you have rules and regulations, they cannot be enough for enforcing the contracting activities. Since 2011, we have rules that should oblige anyone who's offered a suspicious product to send a signal to the authorities, but it's not always happening. And then the more we cooperate, the better. So I leave the floor again to Guglielmo for keeping him present in the platform. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. A quick addition. In the reports, you can even filter for with other fields. For example, you can filter for country. So we can show all the data filled by Montenegro in this project, because there are not only Italian data. And even in this case, you can download in Excel format or do every other thing you want with the data. Coming back to the platform, for all the people, you have monitoring functionalities. In particular, with the media section, you have only the opportunity to visit some external links that the MEDI-THEFT administrator users want to share with you. So you have some data that you can reach from our section. Or, yes?
I want to add a little note. With this functionality, the MEDI-THEFT administrator can promote additional materials in order to, for example, to promotional specific course or additional video or specific case study in order to share with the dedicated person that has the access on platform dedicated video. The video is not included on the platform, but only the link is present. So, for example, if some course has been created only for specific destination, the administrator can add a new link and specify the rule of the person can access and view the course. Okay. Not only video, but also the platform can support the promotion of the share of the documents, some documents. I leave the floor to Andrea.
Yes. Here you have a collection of data. And in this case, admin users can load on the platform documents that want to share with the normal users of the platform. And the documents can be filtered to specific roles or to every role, and can be filtered for country or by everybody, for everybody. In this example, we are an Italian user, so we see documents in English and documents in Italian. Maybe if we log in with an English user or any other user, we did not see Italian documents because they are not so relevant.
Okay.
Okay.
Last but not least, we want to share with you the integration between MEDI-THEFT platform and the services offered by the Transcrime relative to the risk assessment module. So we want to share with you an example of integration and how the MEDI-THEFT show to you the result of this integration. So for example, for this case study, we put the company name code, yes, company profile code, sorry, start the query, waiting some minutes for the result, and then the user can show the details of each risk indicator returned by the Transcrime. As you can see, some records are highlighted in red. This information is an alert for the user. So the user must make an additional focus on this case in order to understand if it is a really alert or, how to say, only a quick alert. So this is how these two platforms can make an integration. That's all for our side. I leave the floor to Domenico Di Giorgio for the conclusion.
Thank you. And I try just to give some comments for making understand the philosophy behind this last feature that were explained. We really would like to make this platform a reference point also for the expertise from the other authorities, the other fields related to the pharmacrime network. We really would like to receive comments, suggestions, and indication on how to make the platform stronger. You have seen that we already published reports, the collection of publication that the agency and the other interested parties shared during the last years, but also practical guidance on what to do, because there is a lot of work that was developed in recent years by many different stakeholders. I saw on screen, for instance, the padlock guideline. That's a beautiful piece of science that was developed by the University of Pisa together with the SIPO and some marketing authorization holders. So we have a lot of science and a lot of practical documents that could be useful for the network, that it is important to promote in order to optimize the use of resources and to help people not to reinvent the wheel any time. So the platform is aimed at giving support to the experienced user by giving them access to data that can be processed with the know-how of an experienced user, but also to help the ones who have to set up from scratch a unit or an activity against this kind of pharmacrime, to take the existing good practices and to copy them. It is quite simple not to reinvent the wheel if you know that there are already wheels that are active all around the world. So we made the platform as flexible as possible, and I have to thank the colleagues from Poligrafico dello Stato for following us in these experiments. We had to change the focus many times in order to make the platform as flexible as we wanted, because we know that it is an evolving framework, so it is important to be ready to change the approach anytime that the criminals will change their one. And so the things that Guglielmo and Andrea explained during this presentation are mere indication of the potentiality of the platform. We tried to show you what you can do with the data and what kind of documents and tools you may access. But it is important that you understand that the platform is as strong as the user are supporting it. So it's up to you to give indications, suggestions, material in order to make it stronger. So I think we can close the presentation here, and thank you for the demo to the colleagues.
Thank you, Domenico. Thank you, Guglielmo and Andrea. And now we have the roundtable, so I think that we have maybe we can have 30 seconds of break in which we shuffle all the location and the places, and then invite all the speakers of the roundtable to join us on the table. Io sto qui o mi posso... Per i microfoni spostiamo questo, sì, ce la si fa. Magari... Yeah, this is the crucifix place in which, if you want the sunbathing, così. Okay. We should also have Domenico connected, so I would like to see him because he will be like the co-moderator of this. I will be here in presence, but of course he is the actual and real moderator of this. The idea of this roundtable is to, we try to gather together different potential stakeholders from the private, from law enforcement, and from, let's say, different point of view. And the idea is to try as much as possible to look at the presence, so have feedbacks on your impression about how the platform is at the moment, but also trying to look at the future. So how do you think your involvement as users of the platform, how can you see that the perspective or the use of the platform in your daily activities? I don't know if Domenico wants to say something to introduce, otherwise.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I have a few slides for introducing this session, speaking about the future of the platform. So I will try to share once again the screen. I hope it works. I don't think it's working.
Okay, it works.
Okay. Okay, so as I mentioned, for us, the MEDI-THEFT project was the follow-up to previous exercises. In the previous exercises, like Fixture 1 and 2, we tried to set up the network and give the tools for, from an IT point of view, for raising awareness against this kind of pharmaceutical crime. And it is something that we did with the focus on the sharing of resources. The experience that we had is that it is important to have the tools, but also to find the strategy for implementing them. And so the MEDI-THEFT is focused on strengthening the IT tools and strengthening the implementation. Databases are, by matter of fact, one of the key point of discussion in recent years, and they are a relevant point of reference for the regulatory sector. So we are discussing in these days the ENVO database for traceability. We currently use the EMA Article 57 database, and these are relevant resources that are accessible to member states that are interesting because they give reliable information in an aggregated way. There are no tools of this kind in the field of counteraction of pharmaceutical crime. So the Fixture platform, and today the MEDI-THEFT platform may play a relevant role at the European level. The European DRAs are managing the cases in an independent way in general, and even the international group as WGO that was mentioned by the chair, Markus Wittstock, this morning, are a good place for exchange of information, but are not managing this kind of tools in a current way. So it's important to have more tools of this way for giving momentum to the contraction to this form of crimes. Then the idea for us was not to create something for the 2 years lifespan of the project, but to build something that can be sustainable in the next years and that can become a reference as it was the Fixture platform. We use the Fixture platform, for instance, for pilot projects with EMA, because EMA has not a mandate against pharmaceutical theft, but they were interested in setting up activities in this field. Then the goal of this exercise was also to strengthen the cooperation between actors. So I'm happy to see how many friends in this final roundtable, and they will give the point of view of different institutions and stakeholders with respect to this kind of tools. So the tool was designed for giving added values not only to DRAs, but also to police forces, customs authorities, and private sector. And so coming back to the implementation, that's the reason why we decided to focus also on training people, because the more experienced user we have, the more the exercise will work. And so we already trained more than 300 people, and we will keep in training experts from the private and the public sector in order to raise awareness. Sorry to say always the same things, but that's the key point of the exercise. We already designed collaborative tools even in previous projects, but this time we are trying to give a specific role, different profiles, and a specific role to any institution in order to have everyone perceiving the added value of being part of a network. And that's it. The sustainability is based on the added value. We know how to make the platform alive. Poligrafico dello Stato will keep in supporting it from the IT point of view. We already set up cooperation with other countries, trying to promote the model. And as I already mentioned, we designed the system in a flexible way in order to have the opportunity of adapting it to the needs of the new partners. And again, to adapt to the evolution of the criminal schemes. And so that's it. This final conference is simply the starting point for the more to come, and I'm happy to leave the floor to the colleagues for explaining how this kind of tool can be used and useful in the forthcoming years for their activities from the different point of view. It is not simply a matter of the contribution and the financing of the project. We think that tools like the MEDI-THEFT platform are useful to make people being part of the same network. So it's a community exercise, and contracting this kind of crime through a community exercise is the transversal approach that we really wanted to achieve when we started the exercise. So thank you, and I leave the floor to the colleagues for giving their point of view on what's coming next. Thank you.
Thank you, Domenico, and I will try to follow maybe the order that we have on the list. So I will give the floor to Valentina Cavaliere from Agenzia delle Dogane e Monopoli, who can somehow present us what are the perspective and how you see the use of the platform in your daily activities and your involvement as a user of it.
Okay, thank you, and thank you to AIFA and all the consortium for this very useful initiative that we think as customs authorities, and I'm sure that my idea could be followed by every customs authority in the EU, because we consider this platform and the previous ones, but this one in particular, very useful in our daily work, but not only, also in our investigative work as coordinator at national level, because I work for the National Directorate, Anti-Fraud Directorate, but I think also about the controls that our colleagues make on the field every day. So we have some comments on the platform and also some point of bullet of discussion for the future. And as regards the comments, we can see that this platform could be very useful as regard the risk assessment, because every data that is filled in the platform could be very useful for our risk profiles. So as much as these data are very pointed as regard sellers, theft, or destination companies or subject, as much as our risk profiles could be very useful and effective on the field. So it's very important. Another thing is about, of course, sensitive data, because these sensitive data should be filled by stakeholders or other actors that could be involved in any kind of action, any kind of theft or activities. And another point of discussion, probably for the future, I don't know, could be a discussion about the use of evidences. I mean, using this platform, how can we use the platform to achieve evidences in our investigation? So it could be very useful also for this, and also for make a very good contact between the public sector, I mean law enforcement agency, and the private sector, because with this direct link, I can ask to the private sector, to a specific stakeholder, to make for me some analysis or give me some particular data. It's only the starting point, and then you can follow your investigation using also this platform and the contact that this platform can give you to better develop your investigation. Thank you.
Thank you. And indeed, there are some interesting and relevant elements. Of course, I think that in our view, the platform, as you said, is a starting point. It's a facilitator of the interactions. It's like the place that could be used for exchanging and creating links and creating synergies. So talking about synergies, and we have here a representative from Luigi Garuto from Olaf. So I would like to see also your perspective, from, let's say, the European perspective, more on the cooperation side, on the transnational side of it. So,
yep. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for the invitation. First of all, it's really a pleasure to be here with you. And thanks for all the presentation, very interesting all the day. Yeah, indeed, we are trying to, as a European Anti-Fraud Office, we are trying to get this European picture, but this is not only European, because as you know, Olaf has signed more than 80 mutual assistance agreements with third countries. So the idea, also using platform like this one, is to bring our added value in potential investigation. As Valentina already said, because we have the same mindset coming from both from customs. So the idea for our natural stakeholders, that are most of all customs, is to provide them with concrete data. And this can be really helpful, a platform like this one, because we receive a lot of inputs from the platform that can be, as Valentina already mentioned, developed in terms of investigation at the national level and at European level. What I noted so far is that very often the authorities in the member states are more focused on the perimeter of the national investigation. What we are trying to do in our activities is always to create links and try to bridge these difficulties to exchange information at transnational level. So you can imagine when it comes to non-European countries that should participate or cooperate in terms of providing evidence or providing assistance, it becomes even more difficult. As Olaf, we have already cases related to medicines or food supplements. We have had already experience with some of the colleagues here. It's not an easy task to create a cooperation and a fruitful cooperation with the authorities in the third countries, especially in the third countries. But I understood this morning in one of the presentations that it's even difficult in the member states itself or in the single country to create links among the different authorities dealing with cases related to non-authorized medicine in general or even more counterfeit medicine or parallel market, etc. What we are trying to do in OLAF is not only to dedicate our attention to customs authorities, because it will limit a lot our potentiality, but also to create a huge network as possible. So this is the reason why I'm here today, because I was already aware of the fact that most of the authorities here, apart my dear colleague here, are police forces. And very often they use, as we discussed with a colleague during the lunch break, they use a different secure network to exchange data and to exchange sensitive data. As OLAF, we are more linked to customs and we use a completely different secure network. But as I mentioned, we are trying to create links, and now OLAF has access to Siena, for instance, to exchange information. This is exactly the reason with the police forces, because we noted that a real cooperation means to call all the actors during the activity without any limit in terms of enlarging the scope of the investigation. And this is working very well. So far, we have 3 ongoing cases on counterfeit medicines or steroids, anabolic steroids coming from third countries into EU. We have noted that recently, very often are imported into the EU precursors, and not only the product finished as such, because it's more easy to detect. So in theory, it's even more difficult now to tackle the phenomenon because there are illegal factories in the EU. So this is also something relevant. Therefore, the platform itself could be an added value for us in terms of inputs. We are not focused attention so far on theft products, but as someone teach me this morning, the theft products that can go out from the natural channel became then, when they are put on the market, non-authorized. So at the end of the day, I think we can also look at this platform and the cooperation with the authorities that are feeding the platform to have better cooperation in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And indeed, no, the focus on the transnational nature of the crime, and therefore that also the counteraction actions should be transnational in nature, is absolutely focused. And speaking about enlarging the cooperation, no, expanding even beyond the EU, here we have Ines Duplessis, from MEDI-THEFT, from the Council of Europe. And so again, the idea is, how do you see that? And I think especially maybe in raising the awareness of national competent authorities in the different countries about the problem itself, but also on the need of using a platform such as this one for, understanding that the issue they have may go beyond their own national border, as Luigi was saying, or that a problem that is generating in other countries may be also affecting their national healthcare system, for instance. So how do you see that?
Wow, what a question. Okay, just to give some context, so MEDI-THEFT is a short term for the European Pharmacopoeia, and I'm actually the secretary of an intergovernmental committee there, and Domenico is part of that committee, and hence we have also been working with Marco and the other colleagues on this project. And actually, in terms of raising awareness, well, the advantage in our position is that since we are at the Council of Europe and we are an intergovernmental committee, we have a direct link to the governments, at least we hope. And we have the possibility, of course, to alert governments about particular issues. And it so happens that at the moment we are also pushing through an official recommendation on the theft of medicines, and where we actually do call upon governments to facilitate the infrastructure and to allow better reporting of thefts, of losses, of diversions. And because at the moment you know that the EU FMD, which is a framework for a lot of countries, basically obliges stakeholders to report false or suspicious falsified products. That in itself is already tricky, but it doesn't talk of these kind of incidents, of the medicines that disappear and you don't really know what's happening. So we felt it was needed to push more for that. So of course, initiatives like that are absolutely fantastic because it's something concrete that we can also use then to raise this awareness, to promote. You see, there is a platform, there is a tool available that we can refer to and that the authorities can use. Now, in terms of raising awareness among the authorities, my experience is that is not so much needed, at least for the health regulators. They are aware of it. Now, what we have noticed, though, is you know, managing a platform, collecting data comes with certain responsibilities. So a number of authorities, of course, ask themselves, okay, how do I justify setting up a whole database, collecting data on a regular basis? How do I justify if I don't necessarily use it? What am I doing with all this data? So I think it may seem obvious. I mean, we have talked about this the whole day, and I think we all agree it is good, it's necessary, but I think it doesn't harm to really spell it out clearly. This is what it's good for, and this is what you gain with it, and you can build a strategy about it, and you can build preventive actions around it, etc., etc. Not to speak, I mean, not to forget what my colleague just mentioned, the increased cooperation, because that is something that is also very much at the core of our work, to increase the cooperation between the health regulators and law enforcement and customs. And yes, I totally confirm it's even in countries that are not third world, it's not a given. It's very difficult and it needs time, it needs patience. And the more concrete tools you have like these, I think that helps to engage this dialogue, to show the practical use, and that we are not on 3 different planets, but actually working on the same goal. So all this should help, actually, the cooperation as well. Yeah, have I answered your question? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I could continue if you want.
No, thank you. I know that Domenico wants to intervene, so please, Domenico, feel free to interrupt us anytime.
Okay, thank you. Now, I just wanted to support the Ines statement regarding the activities that we are performing together in this field, together with the Council of Europe MEDI-THEFT network and the CMED group in particular. I already mentioned the concept of avoiding to reinvent the wheel, and what we are trying to do together is to use the existing tools and documents and experiences for promoting the cooperation in a sector where it is not the standard really, because it is apparently, as Ines pointed out, you do not always find this kind of positive approach in trying to be part of something instead of being the leader of something smaller. So it is a real good network. I'm cooperating with the MEDI-THEFT CMED network since 20 years probably. And it is a beautiful network for setting up this kind of cooperations. And I see this cooperation as an example of the possibilities for developing fruitful activities at an international level, making people feeling to be part of something bigger, and then using the good practices and the good experiences that were already developed somewhere in the world as an example, as a possible reference. So I think we are trying to build something together also in this field, and I'm sure that we will succeed even if it is apparently difficult. Thank you.
Thank you, Domenico, for intervention. Now let's move to that part of the table, and let's move probably to the people that have have to feed the platform the most. So I have to not only receive the result, but also to provide most of the input. So again, what's your experience, what's your feeling about the platform? And I'm talking to Tenente Colonnello Strappatelli from the Nucleo Carabinieri NAS.
I list the consideration from colleagues, and I like to listen that there are a lot of point of view that may be a very great thing in the improvement of the platform. I hope that there will be a great involvement of the private sector that probably is not involved in other forms or network information with Europol, Interpol. So I think that it may be useful have the data from the private sector, industries, wholesaler. It may be useful. I like in the platform the sector of lost medicines, because I would like to know when a medicine is lost or is theft. I think that it's not so defined, the situation. So I obviously sure that this is a great opportunity for the sector to create a real network, but we have to work hardly, because we have several points of view. We have several rules. For example, we have the rules given by prosecutors. And so we cannot give data when we want, how we want. We have a limitation. And this may be a great problem. But we can work about the issues, and we can find a solution, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you. Yes, indeed. Indeed, the issue of the, let's say, confidentiality of some of the data and information, it's crucial. But at the same time, I think that by limiting the information to be uploaded on the platform, only in the ones that are really useful for generating alert that should be due in a short period of time, and maybe, of course, removing all other aspects that connects us, for instance, the identity of the people, or more investigative information.
About the mode to give information. We can work about the matter to create a common behavior to manage the data, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you. And I really think that's the way to move forward. So let's try to face what are the difficulties and try to to overcome them, because that's the goal in the end. And finally, we have the private sectors that has been evoked by Tenente Colonnello. So, Andrea Di Maio from Eli Lilly, what's your perspective as private user of the platform? So how do you see the platform? It is useful. How would you expect from the platform for helping your daily activities, actually?
First of all, I'm happy to be the last one, because in the meanwhile, the sun has gone on the side of the table. And second thing, I love this project. It's a personal opinion. I love this project because it has had a comprehensive approach in several aspects. The first one is the system that has been used, the approach with the 3 E's of management system. I mean, engineering, education, enforcement. In all these aspects, engineering, we started, as Domenico says, we started from fake share 1, then fake share 2, now we have this project here. I'm sure that there will be further upgrade in the future, and it will mean that we are using it. In terms of education, great trainings, information, etc. The challenge I see here is that we need to create a culture that is different from a training or information. Culture means create habit, behaviors, and automatism. I mean, it needs to be a common thing to report this. The third one is the enforcement, and I think is more critical. I mean, all the stakeholders are involved. I think from a private sector's perspective, one of the critical success factors will be that everybody should be fully engaged on this, 100%. All the private companies, all the pharma companies should have their contribution. And as this morning, Pavles, I think, said, we are a family here. And especially in the pharma companies, we need to work more in team. So there should be a comprehensive approach, a teamwork between quality, supply chain, and security. Security is not only doors, alarms, windows, etc. Security can be a great partner for quality, for HSE, for the supply chain in general. At the very beginning of the project, my perception was that this is a kind of reactive approach to the issue to the phenomenon. Just because when a theft or a loss occurs in a pharma company, priority one is replace the product, business. Priority two, and I mean, replace the products and serve the patients. Priority two is recover the financial loss, and there is the insurance. The reporting process is the third one, maybe. I think all the other, my colleagues would agree in that. And maybe it can happen that someone forgot it. And this is very important. What I think it should change this point of view is that, as someone told this morning, the value of this system is not report after an event, is to have a set of data that also private companies can use for risk assess the supply chain. And that will be very important. It's prevention. Together with security standards, also this can be a valuable asset to use.
Thank you, and indeed, the role and necessity to having, I won't say all, but as much as possible, at least, participants, it's fundamental also because these generate this culture, these habits. These should become, a kind of internal rules of the sectors, which is, of course, something that maybe it's not.
Sorry. As I often said, the enemy is outside of this room. The pharma company that is competitor with us is not the enemy. We should be allied against the enemy.
Okay, perfect, thanks. Okay, I don't know if Domenico wants to add something or had some maybe specific question or aspect that would like our speakers to address.
Just a comment on the results, so to say, because as I already mentioned, since we were quite picky in keeping this question on the table during the recent years, we succeeded in changing the approach of other authorities at an international level regarding this kind of pharmaceutical crime. As I already mentioned, up to a few years ago, no one was issuing rapid alert out of the theft event, and today pharma companies know that reporting to the national competent authorities the cases means that alert will be launched and the contracting activity can start. So we succeeded in changing the approach. But as Andrea said, it is important to work in perspective. We built something that's strong enough to counteract the models that we already know for criminals, but as for the cases that were reported, we know that criminals are now attacking the system from other angles because they know that this is a lucrative and relatively safe sector for criminals, so they are always trying to find ways for getting to our market. So it's important to be flexible and ready to the evolution of the system. So probably the question for all of the participants could be how they can see the adaptation of the system and in general of our cooperation to what will come next, to the possible evolution that they can forecast of this kind of criminal behaviors, because we shared a journey in which criminals were quite inventive in finding new ways for making profit out of emerging demand. You probably remember the 2017, 2018 crisis related to the anti-hepatitis C product that became a target for criminals even at national level. So we have seen different evolution already. So I don't know if someone wants to try to make some forecast on how can we evolve and adapt the system. Thank you.
Anyone?
Sure, can start. Okay, I take the initiative. I'm sure the others have something to say too. When I listen to Domenica, two things come into my mind. Well, the first one is, and I think I need to repeat it 3 times probably at least, it's cooperation, cooperation, cooperation. It's really keeping up the dialogue, not just in your own field, but also with your colleagues. And that's also what we try to do in our day-to-day work. When we speak with authorities, we also tell them, call police, call the customs officer, know your people in your country. And it has actually, and that's something we have observed also a lot in our work with the authorities. It's important that at least on a national level, this dialogue works. If on a national level it works, then the international will follow, because the customs have their network, police has their networks, industry has their networks, but it has to function on the national level. And I think if we keep working on that, if that keeps improving, you have already a certain basis for flexibility, for adapting to new things to come. And then if we talk now, on the second point that came to mind, is I think is something that you mentioned maybe before already, the databases. We have a lot of databases running already around, and I mean, MEDI-THEFT is another one, and I think it's a very good one, don't get me wrong. But I think we need to find a way to yeah, what Domenico said, not reinvent the wheel, but use the tools we have. And we may, I mean, I don't know how this is technically possible, but maybe find a way that we can somehow find a connection between the existing databases that are used, well, MEDI-THEFT, or that are used by the police, by customs, or I don't know who else. I mean, this is something now maybe wishful thinking, but it is something that would, I think, greatly facilitate the adaptation also, because as you mentioned, people are animals of habits. You like the things you know, so when you're used to a database, you're very reluctant to adapt to a new one. So I think the more we maybe try to focus on, you know, sort of, yeah, find the links between the different tools available, it will also help them to address new events, because you're prepared, you can adapt. At least that's my perspective. And now I leave the floor.
Anyone else? Yeah.
I completely agree with you, but and I see at European level they are trying to make what you are saying because we have so much databases, so much data sources, and they are trying to make links between all the databases available, but it's not so easy to do and not so easy to convince but the different authorities to work together. But from my personal point of view and my experience, I see that when we work together in investigation, like with Carabinieri NAS or other authorities, the things goes very well. And as regard the private sector, I want to remember them that custom is the last line of defense about every transnational crime. So it's very, very important for them to share all the information they have about thefts or loss of medicines or diversions and so on, because we are the only ones that could try to stop the transnational crime. So we have to find a way. Probably this platform should be a good start for it. Thank you.
Okay. If there are no other comments, I have another additional question, I would say, for all of you. Because we talk about, the need of generating, let's call it awareness, or try to involve organization into that. But what kind of strategy I think that are also needed, and my question to you is, which kind of strategy do you think you can envisage to also increase the level of awareness within the organization themselves? Because one of the key issues that we saw is, for instance, the quality of the data that are generated. So, well, partially you answered before, but I think it is also important to try to understand that, and how potentially, for instance, one of the results of the platform, or could be the aggregated data, could be the documents that are provided, could be also used internally by the organization to know, because maybe if you want to change those habits, you don't have to change them from the head, but maybe from, or at least the overall body should be aware and involved in understanding the potential return for their activities of the production of these data information. So I don't know, maybe I already answered my question, but.
It came to my mind that the speed of an organization is equal to the speed of the slowest member. So more than thinking about how to improve, I would think in this phase on how to monitor and think about failure mode analysis. I mean, what could wrong? The involvement of the stakeholder is one aspect. The speed, equal speed of each members is another weakness, I think. So we should monitor this and keep everybody on the same page with periodical meetings, I don't know.
As regard customs, I can say that for our officers on the field, we are thinking about several different touches on the platform that could be useful both for training, but also for controls, because when you are in the field and you have to decide for a shipment and you have only 5 minutes to decide if release the shipment or not, have such a access and a platform that you could access every time and look for some batch numbers or so on is very useful. So we, in our training process that we have with our officers on the field, we can put also this platform and give them access to the platform.
Just a comment from my side, in a different sector, but the problem is the same. we saw that there was a very important database that could be really useful for customs authorities to check and see if a shipment could be considered suspicious or not. But very often it was not used. So the idea was to support the private sector, organizing webinars during the COVID time, and then face-to-face meeting in order to discuss about the potentiality of the tool and the possibility to use it in an appropriate way in order to try to prevent the commission of the event, if it's possible, or to react as soon as possible. So this training activity, not only made by the authority of a member states, but also supported by the organizer or relevant stakeholders, I think could be a very good approach to improve the use of the tool.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if Domenico wants to say something, otherwise we may open...
Yes,
yeah, please, Domenico.
Just a last comment before leaving the floor to the audience. Another relevant point in the whole exercise, not only in the MEDI-THEFT 1, but in general in our activities, was to strengthen and to give visibility to the roles and to the know-how of the different administrations. So the cooperation point that was stressed also by Ines for us means that we have to keep everyone involved, and it is important to train people and to make everyone informed and on the same page regarding the trends and the activities and so on. But always considering that the national competent authorities has a certain list of know-how, the customs are experts for other fields, enforcement officers have their profile, and industry experts have their profile. So it is important that everyone contributes with his know-how to the network, that we put the different pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together without thinking that if I train someone, I can transform it in something else. We have to give visibility to the role of the experts. We have to have a network of point of contact in the different administration, because the network is strong if the point of contact are strong. So it's important to keep the network alive. It is good to train the experts in the different fields, but I think that having this kind of meeting and cooperation activities ongoing keep the community of practice alive, and this is the key tool. It is not simply to train people on something on which they will work not every day, but it is to raise awareness in all network regarding the existence of high-level experts you can access, to have a real-time answer, even with respect to the point that was made by Valentina and Luigi. If you have to release a shipment, you have to have an answer in hours or minutes, then you have to access an expert. So creating and keeping the network of experts alive is the challenge, and giving the network tools for keeping the network alive could be one of the answers to this kind of need. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I would say now we have some time for questions for the audience, if any. So if some has comments, ideas, suggestions, or insults. Anything? Yes, we have one. I don't know if we have, yeah, we have a microphone there.
First of all, I would really like to thank Domenico and Paolo for a kind invitation. I'm here on behalf of European Association of Hospital Pharmacists, which represent more than 26,000 pharmacists across Europe. So I have two questions, basically. The first one is more technical. Have you seen and observed any trends of medicines theft in line with actual shortages? Because it's really, really interesting to see if those medicines affected by a shortage across Europe, and I'm not talking only about the EU, all Europe, have you seen that these medicines are affected by theft? That's the first question. And the second question, as a hospital pharmacist, I have to ask you, we have, I said, 27,000 across Europe, and they are all aware of FMD directive, all the databases, as Ines mentioned. So would you be able to give an advice where a hospital pharmacist's place is in these list of tasks, in reporting, reading the alerts, getting in touch with the legislators? So if we, and I already talked with Domenico and Pavle, that we want really to support your initiative, what would be the task of a hospital pharmacist when the time comes in this particular project? Thank you very much.
Domenico, you want to say something?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the question. The Italian Association of Hospital Pharmacists is one of the key partners in all of our activities against pharmaceutical theft. We publish together the guidance for securing the hospital pharmacies and giving directions on how to report when you are the victim of a case. We also worked together on the padlock guidelines and on other initiatives aimed at supporting the colleagues in the field. So I think that the key points are reporting, because sometimes hospital pharmacies are assaulted and we do not know in real time the cases. Checking the goods that are proposed and the offers that are proposed to the pharmacy, because it is in the regulation, but as I mentioned, it is not applied. You may be the target of suspicious offers and receive signals that we can process. And also training. Also in training, in Italy we had a good experience in training the colleagues in the field in these specific areas, but also in general in ways for making the handling of goods as safe as possible. So there are plenty of activities in which we can structure the cooperation with the hospital pharmacists, and I think that again, not to reinvent the wheel, we can use the Italian experience of cooperation between our network and the hospital pharmacist one as a reference or as a first indication of things that we can structure. So we can, for instance, share the guideline that we publish together and see if it makes sense to adapt it to the international network. Or we can set up a joint training for the colleagues in the field. But I really think that the hospital pharmacists are one of the most relevant categories to be involved, also because, also with respect to the European traceability, hospital pharmacists are still not fully in the network, so they could still be the target for suspicious offers. So it's important to raise awareness in that network. So thank you for the question, and I consider these questions as volunteering for setting up cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, and I don't know, maybe Domenico, you haven't responded to the first one question, so I will try to do that in the sense that we do not have evidence at the moment of this, but I do believe personally that yes, a link between shortage and theft may happen, especially because when you have a demand, somehow these potentially cause, or push criminals to look for specific products. But again, this is one of the kind of analysis that we could be potentially able to do once the platform is, loaded and fueled by more than one country, because most of the things that we saw is that this is not just really happening in one country, so that you see the shortage and you see the theft in the same country. Most of the cases, it's more a transnational one. So just focusing on a single country, you may not see this correlation, but for sure, at the at least continental or even global level, you will definitely see some of these connections. Any other? Yeah, another one.
Good afternoon. I decided to ask how the wholesaler can help you to improve your MEDI-THEFT platform. This will be useful for us, have many extraction, and for give it to our associate. Thank you.
Domenico? I leave it to you, the first question. The first answer is always yours.
No, okay, and I can also complete your previous answer, because we will have on Monday the event on shortages at the European level, so that's something on which we work a lot. The connection is not direct, but it exists. And again, when you have a demand, you will always have also the criminal strength to fulfill it. So shortage may create demand, so there may be connections. And from this point of view, the role of wholesaler is also relevant, because they are the connecting point between the offer in different countries. That's the reason why the directive, the 2011/62, gives a specific role to wholesalers in reporting to the national competent authorities any suspicious offers. And by matter of fact, the whole Volcano operation was managed by involving wholesalers in the evaluation of the trades. So again, the experience that we had in Italy is that involving the whole distribution network, so pharmacies, hospital pharmacies, distributors, marketing authorization holders, together with the administration in the contracting activities, is an incredible added value, because any of the actors knows part of the story. And I had a conversation with some wholesalers in Italy a couple of weeks ago regarding suspicious cases and shortages again. And they knew part of the stories that are absolutely new for us, because when setting up the schemes for laundering illegal products, criminals becomes incredibly creative. And so who's in the field, like the wholesalers, can see things that we as a central administration are not able to process, because no one will come with us, as in 2014, with a shopping list that was submitted by the criminals, but that's a document that was circulating in a certain network. So wholesalers are in a good position, because they are in the middle between the different networks. So sharing their experiences, accessing the data, checking if something suspicious is happening, and reporting in an informal way is an incredible help for the contracting activities. And that's the reason why GIRP was a partner of our exercises and project since the beginning, and even in these activities was always supported. So happy to involve the category the more we can. Thank you.
Oh, please.
Okay, I have a question. How do I formulate this? How is it foreseen in future? Who is hosting the platform and who's managing it? I haven't quite understood that. Maybe I just don't know enough about it, that's all. I mean, clearly this was now conceived in the project, the EU project, with the IFA, and your colleagues and everything, but I think it's important to understand a bit how this will roll out in future, how is it foreseen to be hosted, to be maintained, etc. I mean, you know, a little bit this logistic administrative framework to understand that, especially if you want to keep it on a international level. I think that's important, at least for me, to understand.
Okay. Domenico is always yours.
Okay, so even in the fake share project, we work the same way. We set up the system and offered also European institution and international institution to keep the lead. We are not jealous of our role. Simply, in the European network, it happens that something is managed locally for the international network. For instance, I don't know, we can mention WGO. The WGO Secretariat is always up to a single member state, currently is Ireland. It's not rotating. As soon as you are a volunteer, you have to keep the role for the time that will be needed. So we are doing the same. We would be happy to transfer the whole system to the European levels if needed, but we worked for making it sustainable if it won't happen. We will keep the governance as transparent as possible, giving full access to all of the partners, and considering it as a service to the European network as part of our current daily job, contributing to the network. It's also a reference with respect to what we are trying to do. We are asking everyone to contribute to a network, to consider to be a community. And so as part of the community, we decided to do it without an income, but trying to find the budget for keeping the project alive as a service for public health at the European level. And again, not being jealous of the project, we already tried to convince European authorities to keep the project that was supported by the European Commission as a European reference. Let's see how it will evolve. I'm afraid that at the moment, since the pharmacrime is not considered as a real... So we will keep to work our way in support to the network. But we will be more than happy to change the governance if needed. But you know that EMA changed its mandate recently, and pharmacrime is still excluded. Apparently, I'm out of connection.
No, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, okay, so that was my point. So we will try to, we will keep the project alive, waiting for evolutions as a service to the European community. And if things will evolve as we hope, we will be happy to leave the lead to the European authorities for managing the whole system. Thank you.
Okay, if there are no further questions, I think that we can close the... Ah, yes, another one. Oh, okay. Microphone.
Thank you. I have one question which is a bit linked to the previous, because our members have been attending several training sessions, and now they're asking, when can we use and enter the platform? So if you have any idea of this when, that I could report.
Domenico?
This is a question more for the IT system, but anyway, the version that you saw during the demo is already in production, so I think that in a few weeks we will be fully operative and will be happy to announce the start of the proper operational phase of the system. Sorry for the long development phases, but as we mentioned, it was important to develop a system that was, as far as possible, solid, secure, and flexible. We wanted to build something that can last, and it took the 2 years of the project as expected. But we will be also happy to inform all of you regarding the proper start of the operativity, hopefully in a few weeks.
Okay. The colleague at Polygraphico left after the question, so I don't know if it is a sign of it. No, I'm joking. Okay, thank you very much to all our speakers, and I would say also thank you for people in the audience. I don't know, Domenico, I would like to leave to you the final words for this event before closing.
Okay, thank you. No, I just want to say thank you to all of you, because it was a very rewarding journey, very beautiful conference. Thanks to the team that set up everything. It was really a complex situation, and they were able to manage it in spite of the practical difficulties. So thanks, Marta, Giampaolo, and the whole team. Thanks to all the speakers and to all of the participants to the project, because it is a very good experience of networking and of the creation of a community. We succeeded in a lot of projects, and I'm sure that also the MEDI-THEFT will bring us somewhere else. So thank you, and see you soon, hopefully.
We are done.